From Joe Biden's gaffes to his search for vice president, let's run it down with political analyst Mark Halperin, who's about to launch a new show, Focus Group, today on Newsmax. Author and Newsmax columnist Tom Basile, and former New York Congressman John LeBoutillier. Mark Halperin, Tom Basile, and John, thank you for joining me today.
Good to be here.
Mark?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, I hear you.
Yes. Memorial Day thoughts on your behalf.
Well, happy Memorial Day, as you said. I think this is a time when the country's in crisis, and I've been thinking a lot about, as focus has been on home and dealing with the pandemic, just how important it is that all the women around the world wearing the uniform are still vigilant, because obviously the threats around the world haven't ceased unrelated to the pandemic, and grateful for them being out there, putting their lives on the line when it's needed as much as ever.
And it is an important day for sure. Tom, I want to switch gears and go to Joe Biden. It has been gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. The media continues to cover for him. I don't think we're ever going to see a turn in the media. How does President Trump's team counter back at all of this?
Well, look, they're sitting on $500 million, and they're going to need every last penny of it because, as you said, this offensive comment that he made yesterday, which was racist and condescending, they're going to try and make that yesterday's news today. And so the Trump campaign actually just launched a new ad that highlights the role that Joe Biden played in a lot of these crime bills in the 80s and 90s that put thousands of people in the black community behind bars for minor offenses. And so, yes, the gaffe was incredibly offensive, but at the same time, he's going to have problems with his record and trying to run away from his record. And so I think that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to constantly remind people that the Democratic Party has taken the black community for granted, that they have locked so many in that community in cycles of government dependency over the last 50 years, and Joe Biden was part of the effort to put people behind bars while Donald Trump has championed bipartisan criminal justice reform.
Yeah, and I think President Trump has a real advantage here in that he can lead on his record and his plans. The Democrats have no plans for any of this, John. Nothing.
I have to respectfully disagree with all of what was just said. If you think Joe Biden is going to have a problem getting black votes in November, you're wrong. Donald Trump will be where most Republicans are, the mid-single digits. He has had a terrible time liaising, communicating with black voters and the black leadership. And
you know what, John? I'm going to say to you, though.
Let me just finish. 83%.
Well, I'll let you finish. But I want to tell this story because I own a trucking company, and I've got black drivers who drive for me, and they tell me they're tired of watching people get handouts where they are when they're working 10, 12 hours a day. And I got guys telling me they're voting for President Trump. So go ahead, John. Take it.
Fine. But I'm just saying he'll get 5 to 7% of the black vote. That's just the way it goes for Republicans. It's nothing new, and he's going to do it. 83% of blacks in a recent poll said they view Donald Trump as a racist. If you think he's going to do well among that voting group, it's not going to happen.
Well, if you're looking at polls, I think you're crazy because I looked at polls before. Well. Exactly. Take it away, Tom.
But no, look, Donald Trump got 1.3 million black votes in the last election. This is going to be a close election. And I happen to think it's going to be a close election. If he doubles that number, or because he reminds them that 600,000 more black families were living below the poverty line when Barack Obama left office, things like that could also drive down black turnout. All of those things on the margins can make a difference in a swing state. So it's not about him getting the majority of the black vote or even 80% or even 20% of the black vote, but doing better than most Republicans do because he has a record to run on. And frankly, Joe Biden is not trusted by that community.
or you're
Well,
crazy.
Mark, let me ask
that's
you.
the
Mark,
stupidest thing ever.
Hold on. I'm bringing more. Well, first off, that's not the stupidest thing ever. And Mark, I'm going to ask you. My Lord. So, Mark, I'm going to ask you. Polling doesn't seem to make any sense at all. I think you've got a lot of black Americans. I think you've got a lot of white Americans who aren't admitting they're voting for Donald Trump, but are.
Well, I think there is some of that, not just American voters. I'm closer to Tom than I am to the congressman. I think that the plan all along from the Trump campaign has been to turn African-American voters off of Joe Biden, whether that means they don't vote or they vote for the president. And I think what the former vice president said yesterday really goes right to the issues that they want to talk about, which is to claim that the Democratic Party at large has neglected African-American voters. This is a gap that's not just offensive to and getting a rise out of people who don't like Joe Biden. A lot of the allies that he needs do not like what he said. And so this is not going to decide the election, but it does give the Republicans and the Trump campaign a lot to work with.
All right. I would like all of you to stick around, and I'll let John LeBoutelier fire some more shots out there because I'm getting a kick out of it, quite frankly. All right, so gentlemen, stick with us. Coming up, country music superstar Clint Black later in the program as well, but we'll be right back with the panel.